Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the Netherlands for talks on boosting cooperation in trade, tech and energy. Modi met Dutch King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima in The Hague. Earlier, he greeted members of the Indian diaspora. Modi is on a multi-nation tour to strengthen India's trade ties and secure supply chains disrupted by the Iran war. Modi has called for a free, open and safe Strait of Hormuz. I asked political analyst Deepa Ollapally if the Prime Minister has a plan to reopen the waterway.
Right now, Mr. Modi and India find themselves in a position they really didn't expect and did not want to be, one which they are a little bit sidelined on the big negotiations and the strategic talks that are going on between the U.S., Iran, and Pakistan, and with China's involvement also. So India, I think, is feeling a little bit sidelined, and I think it does not have a plan. What it wants to do is to try to resolve this diplomatically, and I think they're hoping that the negotiations this time around, the ceasefire is holding to some extent, that they will be able to get the benefit out of someone else doing the negotiations this time. But I don't think this is what they want. And
Okay.
the image of India is suffering a bit.
A foreign ministry spokesperson says the visit has given a major boost to India's energy security. Can you explain how?
Well, the UAE is one of India's biggest partners in the Middle East. And energy security is obviously at the top of India and Mr. Modi's mind. And one of the things that they have been able to accomplish is to get a very large strategic petroleum reserve promise from the UAE. That is, that they will contribute to India's strategic petroleum reserve, which is dwindling. And if the war goes on much longer, it's going to be in trouble. And this will be a big win back home because the Prime Minister has come out and asked everyone to tighten their belts, not to travel overseas, perhaps to stop selling gold, stop buying gold, and so on, so that reduce cooking fuel if possible. So it's this will be a signal that they're doing something to address those domestic concerns that really a lot of restaurants and homes are feeling, and of course the gas prices.
Now, the tour, or the European part of the tour, is designed to deepen India's ties with Europe. But why Modi's choice of two Nordic nations? Can you explain that?
Yes, and especially because he has not been to, no Indian prime minister has been to Norway for almost 40 years. So the question does arise. I think one of the reasons is that so far, India has been focusing on the big powers in Europe. And there has been that strategic partnership that's been building. The EU FTA was signed a few months ago. But right now, India needs some practical gains. It needs some practical cooperation. And the Nordic countries actually offer that. For example, Norway has, I think, about a 2 trillion sovereign fund. India needs capital. It is also, India wants high-tech cooperation. So the Norway on blue economy is very good, Arctic cooperation, but also I think the Nordic countries are known for climate activism, which is another thing to do with energy security. So that would be something that India would want to keep pushing that agenda of climate agenda and green technology. And finally, I think given the huge disruptions going on with Mr. Trump's highly unpredictable actions, that India is looking for partners who have credibility in promoting global governance, international law. Norway is long known for that as a small country with a big impact, soft power on global governance. So I think that is partly, but there's also, of course, if you look beyond the Nordic countries to Netherlands, there are other issues that give some benefit for India as well, immediately.
Now, Modi's final leg is Italy. How has he managed to strike up such a close friendship with Prime Minister Meloni?
Yes, well, Italy has been one of the outliers in terms of the level of criticism raised against Mr. Trump. And I think in that sense, the global South probably sees Italy and Meloni as being more of a friend, along the lines, I think, of France as well. And Italy was one of the founding members of something called the IMEC, which is the India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor, which was a huge landmark kind of agreement. Of course, it has gotten completely stuck after Israel's war on Gaza, and so that is not going anywhere. But being a part of that grouping, I think Italy has been showing itself as maybe a more trusted friend than some of the others.
Deepa Ollapally, George Washington University, thank you for your analysis.